everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After we did a very short game of Cartographers last night, we're back to a much bigger game on the channel. We're going to play Space Empires 4X today from GMT Games. Our goal is to build up our space civilization to be able to take out 3 doomsday machines in the solo game. We win if we manage to take all 3 of them out. They win if they manage to take our home world out. With that very small intro setup, there will be a lot more to go through in the game, but let's move over to the main game board to see our setup. You're technically supposed to have the actual chits on the board rather than these red cubes. What I've done instead is I've actually put these red cubes on the board so that when I move into a space with an unexplored cube, I'll pull out of the appropriate bag. The red ones are for my home system, and I've got a chit cup for those. They'll normally have a red back on them like so. Normally they'd be shuffled on the board, but I find it easier to go into a chit cup and pull those out. The white ones, similar idea. We'll pull out a deep space chit, or out of a deep space cup, where they normally have white backs on them, just so the color makes sense. But here I start off with a mining ship, 3 colony ships which I can use to build colonies, and I've got 3 scouts. So we'll take a look at these. When these are in combat, the E is the order they fire in, 3 is what they need to hit, they have no defense, and they have 1 hull size, so they take 1 hit to be destroyed. And then the colony ships, like I meant, we also have 4 shipyards, which can be built but are never moved. With that, though, I think we're all set to get into this game, so let's jump in with our first turn. A round will play out over the course of basically 3 turns and then an economic turn. We'll use our 3 turns to go through exploration of the games, basically the galaxy that we're playing in. So it'll be movement first, then there would be any combat, then exploration. Then we'd go through 2 more turns of that, then our economic phase. So each of our ships can move 1 right now into unknown space. I believe is how that works. Yes, we move 1 hex in each turn. But that can change as we upgrade the ships. Let me see if I can zoom in on this just a touch. I want to make sure I've got mostly just the map in shot. There we go. That should work. Scout 1 I'm going to bring over to this system. Scout 2 I'm going to move over here. And Scout 3 I'm going to move there. The colony ships, the miners can't move into unexplored space, and the shipyards just don't move. So first I'm going to go into my red cup for Scout 1. We'll pull something out of our chit cup here. Try to bring that out, unrevealed side out. So our first system is Athos. That's somewhere we can colonize right away. That'll be a good thing. I should probably also have mentioned, by the way, that, here's my new laser pointer, we've got some dice around the board, and when the doomsday machines start coming in, they'll come in based on a roll of that. So depending on what number we roll, a 1 or 2 will bring the first doomsday machines out here, 3 to 4 out here, and so on. So I'm just getting the bag for the red cubes as I explore them. Then we'll go to Scout 2 next and see what we're finding there. I'd like to ideally get a nice even spread of some of these colonies. Okay. Got that on another flat side out, so here we find 5 minerals. Okay. That's not altogether unwelcome either. I can send my miner after that. And then moving over to Scout 3 we find flat side out we find Anion, which is a barren world. So normally we can colonize worlds at will, but for that one we need a special terraforming technology to be able to terraform it or colonize it. So that's it for turn 1. Now we're into turn 2. I'm going to have my scouts continue exploring. Scout 1's going to move over to L5. Scout 2 is going to come down to J6. And Scout 3 is going to move up to L8. As for my miner, I'm going to send it down to K6 to grab those minerals we just found. And I'm going to send a colony ship over to Athos. So now we're into... place the colony ship. You may do this in the same turn. Okay, so we're sending the colony ship over here to colonize Athos. So we're colonizing right there. So now that colony ship can't move any longer. Once we announce colony... Okay, so basically that colony ship can't move. Athos is now being colonized. So let's reveal our chits here. Scout 1 will go back into our red chit bit cup. And we'll come out with, once it decides to focus, we'll come out with Cerberus. So we've got another world out here that can be colonized. Okay. The only thing I don't like about the colonies moving to this side is we're basically leaving this side of the board uncovered. So I might want to keep an eye on that. Going in the bag, into the cup for Scout 2, we find trying to bring that out flat side down. We find another 5 minerals. So we can send another miner after that. Then Scout 3, which is up here, we'll find. Another 5 minerals. Okay, that's very welcome. So our miner is going to be busy, and there actually might be an argument to build another miner right away. So we're moving into turn 3. This colony ship can't move because I've already declared colonization, which means this colony ship will move to Athos. It's not going to stop. This miner is going to bring 5 minerals back to our home system. Then we're going to bring Scout 2 up here, and Scout 3 is going to head for deep space. Actually, Scout 1 is also starting to move for deep space. So we've got 5 minerals back, which I will remember. I'll put that there, so I remember to take those off the board. Moving over to Scout 1, our chit there. Let's see what we find here. Another 5 minerals. Miner is going to be busy. All right, then looking at Scout 2. All right, Scout 2 is finding more minerals. We definitely, assuming we don't have anything crazy happen coming out of Scout 3, I may be wanting to build a mineral, another miner pronto, but let's see what happens here. I actually saw what Scout 3 was, so here we'll find Fion. So now we've got a world out toward this side of the board, which I'm much happier with. So now we don't have to send all of our colony ships in this direction. But that's it for turn 3. So now we're going to start into our first economic phase. We'll start off with collecting colony income. Right now we have the 1 colony on our home world, which is 20. plus our 5 minerals that we brought in. And we're not playing with any of the advanced rules, so our total is 25. We don't pay maintenance cost, I believe, on... We do pay 1 maintenance cost on our scouts, so we have to pay 3 for that. Do we? Let me double check that. Let's see. Recording hits. I believe our scouts do have a maintenance cost of 1, but I wouldn't swear to that. Yep, okay. Bases, colonies, colony ships, mining ships, and shipyards don't incur maintenance cost. So we do incur a maintenance cost of 3 for a subtotal of 22. So now what do we want to do with our 22 points? It's tempting to research terraforming right away just because we've got that barren world right in here. So now we're at units in tech. But I definitely need another miner right away because we're finding a lot of minerals. So I think I'm going to pay... So I think I'm going to pay 5 points and I'm going to grab a... You're going to hear me clicking pens a lot in this video. So I've got 5 for a miner. So I want that. And then do I want to start upgrading ship size right away? I think I do. So I'm going to pay 10 for ship size level 2, which is 15, and I can carry up to 10, I believe. I've always ruled that I've always assumed that you can carry up to 10. But I could be wrong on that. Anyway. Let's see, so that's 15. Actually, that would take me down to 7 credit points. Which wouldn't be a terrible thing at all to have. But yeah, I think that's what we're going to go with. So we're spending 10 on technology, and 5 is 7. Maintenance increase. I don't think we're spending any kind of. Nope, we're not incurring any maintenance costs there. So, which means that's where I was seeing it. Carryover max 30. So we're carrying 7 credit points over into round 2 after I place this miner on Altair. Then we increase colonies. The only colony we've started is the one on Athos, so that's a 1 now. But we're all set for round 2. We've still got plenty of time before the Doomsday Machines start coming. So, let's get into this round and see where we're going. Heading into round 2, I'm definitely going to put that new miner to work. So we're going to send miner 1 down toward one of our 5 mineral spaces. Miner 2 is going to move over to L8 for that 5 minerals. Then our scouts are going to keep exploring. Scout 1 is actually going to head for deep space. Scout 2 is going to stick to the home system. And Scout 3, I think, is also going to head into deep space. So Scout 1 will need something out of the deep space cup. Hopefully we find something good in here. Oh, wait a minute. One more thing before we head into exploration. I'm going to move the colony ships. Move that one to Cerberus. And this one's going to start heading for Fione. Now we're into exploration. I hadn't pulled any chits out yet, so that's why I'm okay doing that. Our first deep space chit with Scout 1 is Gath, a barren world. So yeah, we might need to go for that terraforming technology after all, but we'll see about that. Scout 2 is still in our home system up here at K4. So let's see what we can find here. side up. Vortigern. So now we've got another world on... So now we've got another world out on this side of the galaxy. So we're definitely going to need to lean defenses in that direction. Scout 3 is back to deep space. Oop. I'll fix which cube I put that red one in a second. Once I pull out Scout 3's chit. Alright. Scout 3 finds danger, which I believe just takes the ship completely off the board. Yep, all units in the hex are destroyed. So that one's off the board. So Scout 3 has been destroyed, which will go back to the sheet. It makes my life... Having that extra setup sheet on the side of the board makes organizing this game so easy. Actually, I'm going to get a couple of my bags out. I want this one and one of these. Okay. So this one can go in here. I'm just doing a little bit of maintenance off camera. That's all I'm doing here. Oh, that's a home system, so I want that in here. Okay. Now that I've got all that bagged up, now we're into turn 2, which is going to be a little bit faster because we've got 2 scouts. We've only got 2 scouts, and they're both on this side of the board. So we're going to need to spend some income in the economic phase to get that scout back. Scout 1's going to continue heading for deep space. Scout 2 is actually going to join Scout 1 in deep space. This colony ship's stopping, and this colony ship's moving over to Fion and also stopping. Miner 1's going to go grab this mineral on J6. Actually, better idea. He's going to grab the mineral on K5 so I can get it back to Athos. And let's see, the miner moved there. So this miner is actually going to bring the minerals back. So we're all set there. Then we've got both of our scouts right now are in deep space. So Scout 1 and Scout 1's at K2, Scout 2 is at K3. So let's see what Scout 1 finds first. All right, bringing that out, we find asteroids. Those will affect us during combat, but it won't affect the Doomsday Machines. I believe. Yes. The attack technology of all units is considered to be 0. So we don't want to fight an asteroid if we can avoid it. But we've also got Scout 2 here that's got something to explore in deep space. So let's see what we find there. Scout 2 finds 10 minerals, so we can probably send one of our miners after that. Then heading into turn 3, our scouts will continue exploring. Scout 1 is going to move down to J2, continue exploring deep space. Scout 2 is going to move back to J4 and start exploring the home system. We definitely need to get at least one scout back out to start exploring on this side of the board. Then the Miner 1's going to bring those minerals back to Athos. And Miner 2 is going to move out after this 5 minerals on J6, which I think is everything done there. So, Scout 1 is exploring in deep space, which is right down here. So Scout 1 will find Scout 1 will find a nebula, which also impacts us that the defense technology is considered to be 0. That won't affect the Doomsday Machines, but we'll want to be careful to not fight there. Then we've got Scout 2 exploring in J4, which is in our home system. So we're back to the red chit cup. This time we find another 5 minerals. So that's very welcome there. If we can get a colony down at Vortigern, we can probably get a lot of minerals. That may be our next objective next turn, but let's see what we're doing here, because we're into another economy phase, or another economic phase. So we collect from income from our colonies, which right now is 21, because we've got our home world and a 1 strength colony, plus we carried over 7, plus we're collecting 10 income in minerals. Which will give us a total of 38 credit points. We have to pay 2 maintenance for our scouts, which gives us 36 to spend. Our first order of business is getting our scout back. Is getting our 3rd scout back. I might want a 2nd one, but I haven't decided that yet. 6 for scout. Given the number of barren worlds I've got coming out, I'm still tempted to get terraforming, and I think I will. And our colony ships cost 8 each, which right now we have 26. We have 36 left, so I think I'm going to spend 8 points to get another colony ship. So totaling that up, we're spending 20, 14, remaining is 2. We're incurring a 1 maintenance cost or 1 increase in maintenance cost. We've got 2 CP left. So I kind of blew through all of this. Collect mineral income, pay maintenance, purchase units in tech. Now we're going to place our units. Scout 3 is going to go right back on Altair for the home system. Then we're going to increase colonies. A 3 becomes a 5, a 1 becomes a 3, which is going to happen with our colony on Athos. And then our 2 3s, or 2 new colonies, are going to become 1s on Cerberus and Fione. That's it for round 2. We're heading into round 3 now. And assuming we have nothing go crazy, I want to start building more colony ships. Of course, that also turns on me not getting these ships blown up. Being able to build more colony ships this turn. So, I'm going to start by moving Scout 1 back in toward the home system, but we're still in deep space with Scout 1. Scout 2 is going to move to J5, and Scout 3 is going to start out again toward L8. As for our miners, I'm going to send Miner 2 to J6 to grab that 5 minerals, and then Miner 1 is going to move to K5. So I think everything's moved there. Shipyards are still all around Altair. Alright, so the only one, so Scouts 1 and 2 are both exploring. Scout 1's in deep space. Let's see what he's pulling out. Scout 1 is pulling out Ada, another barren world. It's a good thing we built terraforming. Now we just need to get out to all these barren worlds. Then Scout 2 is right here, still in a home system world. So let's see what we've got here. Scout 2. Come on. Focus. There we go. Scout 2 is finding a black hole. which I believe is going to trigger a roll. Yes, on a roll of 1 to 6, the ship survives, and the black hole stays there. So, for the first time all game, we need the dice tower in shot, which can go right there. Perfect. And we'll grab a d10, and we'll give it a roll to see what happens. We want a 1 to 6, so of course it's a 9, which means Scout 2 gets blown up. So now we're going to need to replace at least 1 Scout. But hopefully that won't be too catastrophic, as we just need to build. So we're actually on turn 1 already. I forgot to move that over. Turn 2 now. And Scout 1 is going to continue in deep space. Scout 3 is going to move to a home system. Miner 2 is going to start moving back toward one of the colonies. And Miner 1 is going to bypass the black hole, continuing out for some of these minerals. Hopefully we can just work a loop here and get these minerals over the course of a few turns. And I think that's everything that can move. So Scout 1 is still over here in deep space. Let's see what he finds. All right, Scout 1 finds another black hole. This is not good. I'm already having to replace 1 Scout. I'd rather not have to replace a second, so we'll bring the dice tower right back in shot. Another 9, so we get another Scout flattened by a black hole. That's wonderful. Let's see what Scout 3 is finding. I'm just going to leave a die in the cup. Scout 3 finds another 5 minerals, so at least that's something. Now we're into turn 3, which is going to be a very short turn 3. Miner 1 is going to grab these 5 minerals. Miner 2 is going to bring those 5 minerals back to Athos. And Scout 3 is going to continue on an exploration mission over in K9. I think that's everything that can move, so Scout 3 with another home system chit coming out. Omicron with yet another world, so we definitely need colony ships, but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here because now we need to go through an economic phase. So we start off by collecting colony income. We've got 20 from Altair plus 5 from our developing colonies is 25, plus another 5 in mineral income this round for a total of 32. We only have to pay 1 in maintenance because 2 of our scouts got blown up, which means we have 31 to spend. So those minerals can come off the board at this point. First order of business is I need to rebuild my 2 scouts for 10, or for 12 colony, or for 12 crystal points. For 12 crystal points. So 12 2 scouts. And what else do I want to do? I've been wanting to build colony ships for a while, so I think, let's see, we're in round 3 now, so we've got some time before the Doomsday Machines start coming. And I definitely want to start developing technology. So we're actually at ship size 2 and terraforming 1, which is all we need there. So right now we have 19 points left, which would let me build 3 colony ships, which I think I'm going to go with. So we're going to build 3 colony ships as well for 18 CP. So that's a total of 30 on ship spending, which means I have 1 left. I'll incur a maintenance increase of 2 points, and I'll carry 1 into round 4. So now we're placing our units. Everything's going to go at Altair. And now we increase colonies. Our 3 flips over into a 5, and our 2 1s become 3s. So now we'll be generating a lot of colony income next turn, or next economic phase. But we're into round 4 now, and we need to get to work on... Oh, we've got separate colony chits for those. Oh well. Actually, let's use those, since that's what they're for. So we've got a 3 and a 3. Okay, now that we've got that figured out, we're into round 4 now, and we can probably start colonizing some more of these worlds. I probably should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but we are playing on easy today, which will dictate when the Doomsday machines come out and how strong they'll be. So the first Doomsday machine isn't coming until turn 7, which means I've still got some time yet before the Doomsday machines start coming, but I think this round, assuming I don't get any of my scouts destroyed again, I think this round should try to be about trying to get more combat ready. So with that in mind, I think we'll send Scout 1 down to K6. Actually, we're going to send both Scouts 1 and 2 there. I'm going to plan on splitting them up next round. Scout 3 is going to start heading for deep space. I'm going to get my colony ships moving as well. I'm going to send 1 to Anion, planning to stop there. Another one's going to head toward this side of the board, heading for Omicron. And then a third one's going to go toward Athos. But the plan is they're eventually going to probably head toward either Vortigern or Gath. It's going to take a while for them to get to... to Gath, but I might try to build a shipyard a little bit more forward. At least I think I can build those shipyards at a colony that produced income. Okay. So I'm thinking I want to try to move that forward a little bit more. But I do also need to keep an eye on being able to build for hull sizes. Anyway, our only ship that's exploring anything right now is Scout 3, and he's in deep space. So let's see what we find here. Okay, Scout 3 finds more asteroids. That reduces our attack strength to recall. So that cube is gone. We're slowly working our way through deep space. Anyway, now we're into around turn 2. Miner 1 is going to bring the minerals to Cerberus. This colony ship's going to continue on to, what world is this? That's Cerberus. Where did Miner 2 end up? Oh, Miner 2 is going to move down here. Now we're going to start splitting up the Scouts 1 and 2. So Scout 1 is going to move to J6. Scout 2 is going to move to J7, which means he's going to have some exploring to do. And Scout 3 is going to continue out in deep space. As for this colony ship down here, he's going to move toward Fione with planning on stopping at Omicron next turn. So I think we're all set there, which means we have some exploration to do. Scout 2 is still in the home system, so let's see what we find here. All right, we're starting to run out of the home system chits. So let's see what Scout 2 finds. Hopefully something good. 5 more minerals. That's very welcome. All right, that cube's gone, and Scout 3 is in another deep space exploration. We'll pull that one out, and Scout 3 will find Romulus, another barren world, which is another option for colonization. Heading into turn 3, we're going to send Miner 2 over toward Vortigern. This colony ship's going to move to K4 on Vortigern and also stop to start colonizing. Scout 1 is going to move to I5, sticking in the home system. Scout 2 is going to move to J8. And Scout 3 is going to continue exploring deep space. I'll say it in English one of these days. Then this colony ship's going to move to Omicron with the plan of stopping here and colonizing. I believe that's everything that I've moved. Yes. Actually, no. Actually, yes. We brought the minerals back. I don't think this miner moved, so I'm not going to move him again. Or I think he moved already, so I'm not going to move him again. Scout 1's in the home system, so let's see what he's exploring. Scout 1 is finding Antares, another world, which we could potentially colonize, but we'll need more colony ships for that. Let's see, Scout 2 is also in the home system, so let's see what he finds. Another nebula, which screws with our defense. Obviously not something we want to fight in. And then Scout 3 is still over in deep space over toward this side of the map. Alright, so let's see what Scout 3 is finding next. Ooh, a space wreck. If we can get a miner out there, we can potentially grab that for a free upgrade. But we're into our next economic phase. We're going to have a lot of colony income this turn. We've got 20 from Altair, 5 from Athos, and 3 from Cerberus and Fione. So that's going to be a total of 25, 31 colony income. We've got another 5 points in minerals for a total of 37, but we have to pay 3 in maintenance for our scouts, which gives us a subtotal of 34 to spend. So that mineral is off the board now. Now we've got some interesting decisions to make here. This is definitely a turn. I talked about wanting to get a little more combat ready this turn. The question is, do I want to do that? That would probably require another ship size upgrade, which could be worthwhile, actually. So I think we're going to spend 15 to go up in ship size, which will let me build some bigger ships. Then I'm going to spend 12 to move a shipyard forward. I'm going to build a shipyard at one of my forward colonies. The only question is where. So right now I'm purchasing units and tech. So I'm going to move shipyard. I'm going to build shipyard 2. Let's see, 27 would leave me 7, which I think I'll sit on. So we're going for 15 for technology spending and 12 to build a shipyard forward. Remaining CP 7. I'm not incurring any increased maintenance cost. 7, so I'm going to build this shipyard at... I've got to build it at a colony that produced income, so I'm going to build it at Cerberus. And now we're going to now we're going to increase colonies, which we have quite a few that we're increasing. So we're increasing... Actually, we're going to turn our 3s into 5s first. So Cerberus and Fione are both going to turn into 5s. We don't have any we don't have any 1s right now to turn into 3s. So we're going to start, we're actually starting 3 new colonies this round. So Vortigern's a colony, Anion's a colony, and Omicron's a colony now as well. Unfortunately, we have just the 2 miners, but they're going to be getting a lot of work this round. And hopefully getting us a lot of minerals. We're heading into round 5 now, and this looks like another great turn for getting some more minerals out, and hopefully, once again, sticking to a focus of getting more combat ready. Unfortunately, we're not going to be building any new colony ships this round, but I do want to keep an eye on that for future rounds. Anyway, starting to move around, Scout 1 is going to head back out into deep space toward one of the Doomsday Machine spaces. Scout 2 is going to stick to the home system, and Scout 3 is going to be in deep space as well. As for our miners, where are our miners? Looks like they're both on this side of the board. I want to start working 1 back over toward this side of the board. But I'm going to have Miner 2 grab the 10 minerals on K3. Miner 1 is going to move back toward Athos and plan on heading back over toward this side of the board. So I believe we've got all of our scouts active, and they're all on units to explore. So Scout 1 is in deep space, which means we need this chit. All right, our first deep space chit is Danger, which wipes out Scout 1. That's not great. And hold on for just a second while I go open the window in here. Pardon a little bit of extra light slipping in. There we are. Whoa. Okay, that's making a mess of my organization there as well. That was not a very welcome side effect. Looks like I just had a colony ship fall on the floor. Let me redo a little bit of my organization here. Okay. We got all of that figured out. So Scout 1 just got flattened by another danger space. Scout 2 is down here in the home system. Let's see what he's doing. All right, Scout 2 finds another nebula, which once again screws with our defenses. We'll definitely not want to engage the... We definitely don't want to engage the Doomsday Machines in that. Scout 3 is in deep space. Right, so that's what he's finding. Scout 3 is finding more asteroids, which screws with our attack. Right, we were into round 1 there, or turn 1. Turn 2 is going to be a little bit shorter because both of our scouts we only have 2 scouts on the board now. Scout 2 is going to stick to the home system, and Scout 3 is going to stay in deep space. As for our miners, Miner 2 is going to bring this 10 mineral back to Vortigern, and Miner 1 is going to move to K6, probably going to go for this 5 minerals at J7. Now let's explore. There's no combat. Scout 2 is at I8 in the home system. All right. Scout 2 is finding. Once the camera wants to focus, there we are. We'll zoom that in. There we go. Sheldon, yet another planet for us to colonize. So we're going to need to replace at least one scout this round, but we have options there. Scout 3 is out here in deep space. And it looks like we already found it already, but Scout 3, once it focuses in, is finding Babbage, which is another barren world, which fortunately we can colonize because we have terraforming. Then heading into turn 3 now, Miner 2 is going to go grab this 5 minerals. Miner 1 is going to grab that 5 minerals. Scout 2 is going to stick to exploring the home system, and J3 is going to come to I-10 still in deep space. Okay, so now that we've got that done, Scout 2, like I said, is in the home system. We don't have many home system chits left. Okay. So Scout 2 will find another 5 minerals, which may be something we try to grab. Scout 3 will find in deep space. And we're back. Anyway, Scout 3 in deep space is finding Warp Point 2. So if we can find the other warp point somewhere in deep space, we could potentially use that as a lightning quick warp point to be able to teleport across the board. And ideally we'll find that somewhere on this side of the board. But now we're into the economic phase. So now we're collecting income. We've got 20 from Altair. We've got 3 5-strength colonies. So that's 35, 36, 37, 38. 38 colony points plus 10 in minerals. 48.55 total. We're paying 2 in income, which gives us 53 to work with. So I'll get this 10 off the board now that we're done with it. First thing we need to do is rebuild a scout, which will cost us 5 CP for scout. So that'll bring me down to 48, which now I want to start getting more combat ready. So at a ship size of 3 right now, I can build up to cruisers, which I think. So now I'm purchasing units and tech. Well, I do want to build attack as well, so I'm going to spend 20. I'm going to spend 20 for attack. Go up to attack 1. No, wait, what does shipyard technology do? I'm going to spend... I'm also going to spend 20 for a shipyard tech so I can increase how much I'm building per economic phase. That'll leave me 40, so 45, that'll leave me 10. 5 on ships, 40 on technology. I think that's where we're going to leave it then, which means I'll be carrying 8 over with a maintenance cost increase of 1. So now I'm going to place this scout at... Got to place it at a shipyard. I'll place it at Altair. Then we'll increase income. Then we'll increase colonies. 3, 3, and 3. And then that's it for the round, so we're into round 6. And hopefully we can keep our scouts so I can start... I know I've been talking about getting combat ready, but this is really the round I'm going to start to get combat ready. So let's move into round 6. Okay, heading into round 6, we're going to send our scouts, continue our scouts moving. Scout 1 is going to move there to join the party. Scout 2 is going to stick to the home systems, as is Scout 3. Miner 2 is going to bring this 5 mineral to Vortigern. Then Miner 1 is going to bring this 5 mineral to Anion. And we're all done there. Scout 1 is exploring in the home system, and we only have a handful of chits left. So here's Scout 2 will find. More asteroids. Once again, affecting our attack, so we'll need to be very careful with that. Scout 3 is also in the home system. So he's finding. Essen, yet another world for us to colonize, which actually might not be a terrible idea. That would give us another base, theoretically, moving forward. Turn 2 now. Miner 2 is going to move toward... Where's Miner 2 going to move toward? There's really not much for him to explore right now. There's not much space for him to go. He can't go into deep space himself. So I think he'll move toward J4, which is known space to us. Scout 2 will move down to H6, continue exploring. Scout 1 is going to move to J6. Miner 1 is going to move to K8. And Scout 3 is going to move to I9, which is still in deep space. Okay, so I think everything's moved there. Scout 1 isn't exploring. Scout 2 is in the home system. We're almost out of chits in the home system cup. So let's see what we find here. Five more minerals, so we could send Miner 2 down after that. Scout 3 is in deep space. He will find. Danger. That's not good. So Scout 3 gets destroyed. Not a good time for Scout 3 to get destroyed, that's for sure. But honestly, there's still a possibility that it's time to just get combat ready. We're going to have to make do with what we've got. Heading into turn 3, though, Scout 2 is going to stick to the home system. Scout 1 is going to move to Antares. Miner 2 is... Actually, Scout 1 is going to move into... Actually, no, Scout 1 moved to Antares. Miner 2 is going to go to I4, plan on the Scout moving into H5, and if that's minerals, we can grab it quick. Then Miner 2 is going to move this to Omicron. I eventually want to see if I can go get this space wreck. And I think that is it. So Scout 2 is in the home system. We only have 2 chits left in the bag, or in the cup. Alright, so Scout 2 finds more asteroids, which is not good for us. And then Scout 1 wasn't exploring. So we're all good there. Moving into the next economy phase, moving into the next economic phase, we're collecting income from colonies. So 20, 35, and 9 is 44. Plus how much from minerals. Plus we have 5, 10 from minerals, which this turn will give me a total of 62. I have to pay 2 in maintenance because I have 2 scouts on the board, which will leave me 60 to spend. What to do with those 60 points? That is a good question. 60 CP. What to do with those? Let's see, for 60 CP, with 60 CP, we've got a ship size right now of 3, and 2 means I believe we can build 1.5 hull points per shipyard. So we'd have to build 4.5 at Altair, potentially. But at ship size of 3, I think I'm going to spend... Try not to jar the camera. I'm going to spend 24 to build 2 cruisers. And I definitely want to work on movement this turn as well. So I'm going to spend 20 for move 2, which will affect movement mostly in round 3, or in turn 3. I'll explain how that's going to affect it in a second. So we've got 44, we've got 16 left. I think we're also going to buy a destroyer for 9. Which is going to be 53 total, carry 7 over. I think I can work with that. So it's going to be 33 for ship spending and 20 for technology. 7, and we're incurring a lot of new maintenance. We're incurring 5 new maintenance. Which means we're carrying 7 over. So I'll place those. The 2 cruisers have to go up at Altair because it's the only place I've got enough shipyards. And the destroyer can go at Cerberus. We're heading into round 7 now, and this is the round that the first Doomsday machine is going to come out, so we need to be ready for that. I almost forgot to increase colonies. So all of our 3 strength colonies now become 5s. Oop, we had 5 more minerals here. We'll just carry those over to... We'll just carry those 5 over into this round as well. Fortunately, we have a max of 30 that we can carry over. So that's how we're going to do that. I'm just finishing my notes off camera. Okay. Now that we've got all that done and dusted, heading into round 1... Our upgrade to move technology doesn't affect us until round 3 when we can move 2 hexes in a turn. So Scout 1 is going to move down to H5 in deep space. Scout 2 is going to find the last chit and Scout 2 is going to find the last chit in the home system. Miner 1 is going to start moving toward the space wreck, which can give us a technology upgrade for free. And then Miner 2's got to stay put until we see what's here. So let's start exploring. Scout 1 at H5 in deep space. We'll find danger. Great. So Scout 1 gets destroyed as well. That's not going to be fun. And then Scout 2 finds the last chit in the home system box. He will find 5 minerals. Okay, that's moderately useful. Turn 2, Miner 2 is going to head for Antares. Scout 2 is going to move into deep space. I don't want to commit my attack. Actually, the cruisers can move down here, and the destroyer will move over to L4. I don't want to start committing my attack fleet until I know where they need to go. So I'm just kind of centralizing them a little bit for defensive purposes. Scout 2 is in deep space, so let's see what's there. Scout 2 finds the other warp points. That's actually a very lackluster warp. We're going to warp all of 2 spaces from there. So that's not great. I believe our scouts can only ever move 1. Yes, from the looks of it, they can only ever move 1. Which is actually, can they? No, they actually can move 2. So we're into turn 3 now, which means the scout will move 1 to warp point 2 and 2 over to H11 for another chit in deep space. Miner 2 is going to grab this 5 minerals. Miner 1 is going to move over to J11. So Scout 2 is still in deep space. Let's see what he finds here. He will find another danger, so Scout 2 gets destroyed as well. We probably need at least a scout or 2 on the board for exploration purposes, but I'm definitely getting to a point now where I'm wanting to de-emphasize the exploration aspect. So now we're into the economy phase. Before we do anything in the economy phase, we have to roll to see where the Doomsday Machine comes out. I set it up during the intro, but remember, 1 to 2 puts him there, 3 to 4 puts him here, 5 to 6 here, 7 to 8 here, 9 to 10 out here. So let's see where he's going to land. A 4 is going to put him down here. So now I know where my attack fleet needs to go. So Doomsday Machine is going to be landing here. The first Doomsday Machine has a strength of 1, which means he'll be a D7, so he'll attack. So the D is indicative of the attack order. Everything will attack in alphabetical order. And he's going to roll 3 dice on attacks with a hull size of 6 and a defense strength of 1. So that'll make our attacks harder to hit, which I need to keep that in mind. Colony income, we get 20 from Altair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full-strength colonies for another 30. So 50 total. Mineral CPs, I don't think we got any minerals home. Nope, we didn't. So 62. This time we have to pay maintenance of 1, 4, 5 for a subtotal of 57. So now we've got the Doomsday Machines coming out. I think having at least a couple having at least a couple scouts ready to go is a good thing to have, but now I'm not so sure about that. I do think I want to try to put a shipyard a little more forward. So I think I am going to build... So I think for 6, I am going to put a shipyard a little further forward. Then we're going to spend 10 to bring 2 scouts back. Mostly so I can explore a little bit more, because there's a bit more in deep space that I could find. Colony ships. I think we are going to build 2 colony ships this round, because we got some new worlds to explore. Let's see, then for a little more attack. Fortunately, the colonies won't count towards ship size. The 2 scouts will, though. Right, I was going to move a shipyard. Where do I... Okay, so what else do I want to build? I've got... Right now I've spent 22. I've got 38 more to spend, and I have to spend at least 8 of it to be able to carry all of my colony points over, which I don't think is going to be a huge problem. So... I think if we spend 25 on shipyards... Actually, if we... So shipyard would let me build... So if I go shipyard 3, I'd be able to build, which I think I will do, which will let me build 2 points per shipyard. Which brings me up to 41, 51, 57... No, wait, let me do the math again on that. So 6 for a shipyard, 10 is 16, double that is 32. 25, yes, 57. So that's 32 on ship spending, 25, which means I'm carrying 3 forward, and I'm incurring a maintenance cost increase of 2. I'm carrying 3 over. And now I've got to place these. The shipyard's going to go at... do I want to put it at Vortigern, or do I want to put it at Omicron? I'm going to put it at Vortigern because it's a little further back from the shipyards than Omicron would be. As for the scouts, I'm going to put those at... where do I want to put those? I'm going to put one at Vortigern. Actually, no. I'm going to put both of those at Altair. The colony ships, one's going to go to Cerberus. The others, actually, are they both going to go to Cerberus? No, one's going to go to Altair. Mainly because I want to get another colony over on this side of the board. That will do it for round 7. Round 8 now, and this Doomsday Machine is going to start moving, so I want to start putting up something of a defense. So let's move into round 8 and see what we can do there. Putting a colony dead in front of a Doomsday Machine potential spawn zone seems like an utterly stupid idea. So, with that in mind, I'm going to move this colony ship to K3. Actually, this colony ship to Vortigern with the plan of eventually bringing it down to Ada at J3. The destroyer is going to move toward Vortigern as well, mostly so I can eventually come down and meet this first Doomsday Machine somewhere in here. The cruisers are going to start moving in that direction as well. Scout 1 is going to move to K6, and the colony ship is going to move to Anion. Actually, the Scout 2 is going to move to L8, and Miner 1 is going to hook the space wreck up. It's going to take us a while to get that back, but I think we can work with that. Then nothing new as far as exploration is concerned, I don't think, no. So we're straight into turn 2 on that. I don't think we're going to be into exploration until at least turn 3. But let's see what we can do here. So this colony ship's going to move to J4. The destroyer is going to move to K5 because I really do not want to go through that black hole. Let's see, 1, 2, if we set up here, then we can probably ambush this miner is going to move through these asteroids. Colony ship's going to move to K8. And our miner that's hooked up to the space wreck now is going to move to J11. Nothing for exploration there, and there probably won't be for a while, so we're going to move right into turn 3. The colony ship's going to move to Ada and stop there. Miner 2 is going to head up to J7, plan to get to Anion next round. Colony ship is going to move to the Nebula space. Miner 1 is going to move up to K10 and plan on getting that space wreck to Omicron. Our scouts are going to continue their exploration. As Scout 2 moves there, and then there. The cruisers and the destroyer, I think, are going to move in together. They're probably going to make a stand around Antares, but this could be a potential problem. No, I think that's fine. So nothing new for exploration still, and we're into a new economy phase. So the Doomsday machines are moving toward our home world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can take an equidistant. They can have an equidistant path. I'm going to choose one that takes them toward actually, I think they move toward the nearest colony, don't they? Let me just double check that. Doomsday machines. Move after all players have moved, including the turns. I don't think they moved when they spawned during the... Always move toward the closest player colony, which right now is Vortigern. So we're probably going to want to ambush it here. That's my initial thought, is that we're going to want to ambush it here, because we don't want it to get... Or do we make it... Or actually, a better idea is maybe we make it come to us, and that way we can use the shipyard to attack it as well. That's actually not a completely terrible idea now that I think about that. The only problem is I don't want to commit to having the next machine come out. Is commit to defending Vortigern and then have another Doomsday machine come out. Well, even when we commit to defending Vortigern, we still are going to have probably a few turns to get our other ships around, so we're probably fine there. But the Doomsday machines all moved, so now we're into our economy phase. Colony income should be another 50, I think. 20, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, another 50. We didn't get any minerals in this turn, so no minerals there. So a total of 53. We're paying quite a high maintenance cost, though. We're paying 237. Okay, so we're paying less than I thought we would, but we're down to 46 CP to spend on upgrades and ships. I think we're going to spend 20 on defense, though. So we're spending on defense 1. I think we're going to spend 15 on tactics 1 as well. And we spent on move 2. And what else are we going to do here? So we're already at 35 of 46. I could buy another destroyer, but I think instead I'm going to sit tight on the rest of my CP. I'll probably plan on spending that next turn. So 35.11, no new maintenance cost. We'll be carrying that over to round 9. We'll also be increasing our colonies. We had one new colony come up, and that was Ada. This colony ship is heading for Essen, but it won't get there until this coming round, which we are at now, and we're heading into round 9, where our second Doomsday machine will also be coming out. Heading into turn 1, I think we are going to go ahead and set up our defense of Vortigern. So the destroyer will move there. The cruisers will move there as well. That's a colony of 1. Miner 2 will bring this 5 minerals up to Anion, and we'll be able to colonize that. This colony ship will move over to Essen and plan on forming a colony this turn. Then Miner 1 will bring the space wreck up to Omicron. Scout 2 is going to move toward K8. And where's Scout 1? Scout 1's all the way over here. So it's going to move over to J7. I want to keep it away from the Doomsday machine if I can. I believe with the space wreck we get the... Earns a free technology upgrade during the economy phase. Okay. So we'll get that technology from the space wreck during the economy phase. Round 2 next. And this miner is going to move to see about getting the 5 minerals down here. Scout's going to move down to Scout 1 is going to move down to I-7. Scout 2 is going to move through the nebula. We may continue exploring deep space a little bit. And I think that's it. I'm going to have my attack force all sit tight there. Then heading into round 3, I think we're pretty... Actually, I think we're going to send Miner 2 down to grab this 5 minerals. Scout 1 is going to move down to H8. And Scout 2 is going to move to... is going to move 2 to I9. He's going to move 2 to I10. Actually, that's right. I forgot we have move 3. So the Scout can actually move to G8 and get into deep space. So Scout 1 will pull out of the deep space cup. Scout 1 will find another danger. Great. Clearly there's a lot more danger in deep space than I thought there was. So Scout 1 gets destroyed, which means now we're into another economic phase, but before we get there, Doomsday Machine 1 moves into J4. It's heading for Vortigern. And then we've got another Doomsday Machine coming out. So Doomsday Machine 2, which will have a strength of 3, so it'll attack on a C8, defense strength 2, hull size 7, and 4 attacks. That's not great. 3, it will also be... The only consolation here is it will be coming out at the same spot that the first Doomsday Machine did. So if we commit to defending Vortigern and enforcing it and reinforcing it, we can probably do some damage to both of these. But we get our colony income next. So we have... It should be 51 this time, right? 20... 51. Yep. 51. Did we get any minerals? We did get minerals. We got 5. Now we get to roll for the space wreck as well to see what we upgrade. So I'll bring the D10 in. So we get this upgrade. We just get this upgrade for free, and it's down here. So let's see what upgrade we get free. I can think of a few I would love here. Attack being near the top of the list. So we get attack 2 for free, which means we'll add 2 to the value our ships need to hit. And we'll go through that when we get into combat. So, let me just make a note of that. Very nice. Which will give us a total now of 67 to spend. Which, before we do that, since I'm talking through this a fair amount, I'm actually going to change my battery since I see that getting pretty low. Alright, so I forgot to pay maintenance. We have a Scout, a Destroyer, and 2 Cruisers on the board. So we have to pay 6 in maintenance, which gives us 61 to spend on upgrades. On upgrades and ships. Still, getting that free attack upgrade was huge. Because it means we'll be able to... especially since we're getting ready to fight the first Doomsday Machine, probably at Vortigern, that's going to be mammoth for us. So, with that in mind, I've got a lot of firepower I can put into this. So, the question is, what do I want to do here? I do know we're going to need bigger ships eventually, especially when the Doomsday Machines start getting stronger. So, I think with that in mind, I'm going to spend... Let's spend 20 for ship size 4. Or for ship size 4. So now I can build up to... Now I can build up to battle cruisers, but I can't build them this turn. I can build more cruisers, which actually might not be a terrible idea. But I think we're going to go... I think we're going to spend 25 to get attack 3. Which will leave me 25, that will leave me, actually 45, that will leave me 16 to spend, which I think is going to be, could I buy a battle cruiser and put it somewhere? Yes, I could actually. I could buy a battle cruiser and I could put that on Vortigern, so I think I will buy a battle cruiser. I want to make sure we're set as we can be. So that's another 15 to buy a battle cruiser. So 45, 60, which means I have 1 CP left. But I'm incurring a maintenance cost increase of 2, I believe. Yep. Incurring a maintenance cost increase of 2. And I'm carrying 1 into round 10. So the battle cruiser is going to go straight to Vortigern and go right into the party. So with that in mind, we're heading into round 11 next. Actually, we're heading into round 10 after we increase colonies. Ada turns into a 3. Essen turns into a... Actually, that kind of changes the direction a little bit. Because we're actually... That first Doomsday Machine is actually heading for... Actually, might be heading for Ada now that I think about it. So we might want to ambush the Doomsday Machine now. Coming up in round 10. That may be a plan that we want to go ambush the... the Doomsday Machine now. So yeah, I think round 10, that'll probably be our first order of business, will be to ambush the... Actually, if there's a tie, I believe it picks the... two colonies that is larger. Okay, so it is going to still be moving toward Vortigern anyway. Never mind. Then it would move toward the colony closest to the player's homeworld. So looks like it is moving toward Vortigern anyway. So we definitely got away with one there. But let's see what happens here in turn 10 as we get ready for our first combat. By our first combat, I mean we're going to wait for the Doomsday Machine to make the first move, which won't be until the economic phase. So, keeping that in mind, I think Miner 2 or Miner 1 is going to go through this nebula. Actually, no, Miner 2 is going to go through Essen. Scout 2 is going to move through the warp point. Where did Scout 1 end up in all this chaos? Oh, Scout 1 ended up destroyed. So we're going to have, looks like we're going to have a very uneventful, actually Miner 2, right, it's got that 5 minerals. Oh, that should be gone. I don't think I counted that. Yes, I did. That can go back to the bag. And we've got another 5 minerals that we can pick up there. So that's a very uneventful turn 1. Turn 2, the scout's going to move to G9, still in deep space. Miner 1 is going to move to the warp point, and Miner 2 is going to start bringing these 5 minerals back toward Anion. That's it for turn 2, I think. Oh no, we've got exploration in deep space, so Scout 2. Scout 2 will pull that out for exploration, and it's another danger. So the scouts are getting flattened, but like I said, I think we're almost at a point now where we don't really need the scouts. So the scouts are getting flattened there. They're getting flattened left, right, and center, quite frankly. All right, then turn 3. Miner 2 is going to bring the 5 minerals back to Anion. Miner 1 is going to head through the warp point, which I believe it only ever has a max of 1, I think we established, right? Yes, always has a movement tech of 1. Okay. So that's all done, which means now we're into the economic phase. Doomsday Machine 1 has arrived at Vortigern, and we need to move down on the board for our first combat. Actually, before we do that, Doomsday Machine 2 is going to move up to I3. Now we need to move down to the board for combat. Alright, we're going to roll for a weakness, but weaknesses don't really matter against the Doomsday Machines here since we're not using any of the advanced rules. But for kicks and giggles, we'll roll for a weakness anyway. A 3 would mean mines would cause a hit on a Doomsday Machine on a roll of 1 to 5, but that doesn't really matter here. All of our ships get 1 attack. The battle cruiser is up first since it's got it's a B5 essentially. So, because of our attack tech, it would hit on an 8 or less, but the defense strength of 1 on the Doomsday Machine means it hits on a roll of 7 or less. So let's roll for the battle cruiser's attack, and it's got a hull size of 6. So we need to inflict 6 hits on this Doomsday Machine to take it out. That's a 2, so that's our first hit on the Doomsday Machine. Then the cruiser, then cruiser 1, 4 would be 5, 6, 7, 6 or less for the cruisers. That is a 9, so no hit from cruiser 1. Cruiser 2, once again on a 6 or less. That's a 5, so that's another hit on the Doomsday Machine. Shipyard hits on a 5 or less. That's a 6, so just barely no. That would be a hit for the Destroyer, though, who hits on a 6 or less. That's a 4, that'll be good for another hit. Now the Doomsday Machine gets its turn. It will be rolling 3d10s. It would hit on a 7 or less. Because our defense tech being 1, it will hit on a 6 or less. So we get 3 dice. And it will inflict 2 hits. Actually, 2 hits. We've got a 10, a 2, and a 6 in there. So it'll take out the Shipyard and the Destroyer. We'll take out the 2 weakest ships that it can. 2 weakest units that it can. Which means we can bring... Actually, we'll just leave those there. The battle cruiser, once again, hits on a 7 or less. It would be wonderful if we could just take this thing out. Right here, a 6 will do it. Will give us another hit. Oop. That flips into a 4, into another 2. The cruiser will hit on a 6 or less as well. I believe. Yep, 5, 6, 7. Minus 1 is 6 or less. Yep. There's a 5, so that's another hit. Let's see if this cruiser can wipe out this first Doomsday Machine. The second cruiser will wipe out the first Doomsday Machine. So that one has been destroyed, which means we can move back up to the board and continue the economic phase. We lost the Shipyard and a cruiser. We lost the Shipyard and... I think we lost the Shipyard and a Destroyer there, but that wasn't too catastrophic in the grand scheme of things. So now we get to continue with the colony, with the economic phase. Colony income is going to be, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 53, 56, 57. Plus we brought 5 mineral CP in. We carried 2 over. Actually, no, we carried 1 over. That's right. Because apparently I can't do first grade math. Who knew? 62, 63 total. Plus a well-earned maintenance cost of... Looks like that's going to be a maintenance cost of 6. Which will bring us down to 57. So, now we've got Doomsday Machine 2 in play and Doomsday Machine 3 coming. So, I think we're going to start setting our defenses back up. We're going to build the Shipyard again for 6. Actually, can the shipyards be rebuilt? Yep. Okay, so we got the shipyard out. We can only build 4. Actually, we can build 4 up at Altair, 4 ship size. What ship size are we at right now? We're at 3, so shoot, we couldn't have built that battle cruiser last turn. Let's spend 20 to upgrade to ship size. Actually, we could have. I just forgot to circle it. Looks like we did build that. So I'm going to spend 20, I think, to go to ship size 5. Yeah, looks like I just forgot to circle it. So we're going to spend 20 to go to ship size 5, which I can't use this turn, but I'm expecting to when the next Doomsday Machine comes out. Then we're going to build... Actually, we need to build... I've got 26, which means I've got 31 left right now. So I'm going to build I'm at ship size 5, but I can't use that until next economic phase. Do I want to just build another battle cruiser? That's going to be 15. Right now we established I have 21 left, which, yeah, I think we'll spend 15 to build another battle cruiser. Right now I think it's all about getting all the firepower that I can. So that's going to be 30, 41. I could spend... Yeah, let's go ahead and spend... So that's giving me a battle cruiser. We might as well just build 2 battle cruisers, I think. So we're going to build 2 battle cruisers. Like I said, right now I think with the last 2 Doomsday Machines coming, I want all the firepower I can find and then some. So 36, 20 means I'm going to have a remaining CP of 1. But I'm incurring an increased maintenance cost of... Shipyards don't have any maintenance cost, but I'm incurring an increased maintenance cost of 4. I'm carrying 1 forward into round 11. Now we place our units. I want the shipyard at Vortigern and the battle cruisers up. The battle cruisers have to go to Altair, but I'm going to plan on getting them to Vortigern as fast as I can get them there. Then we increase colonies. The colony on Ada is going to turn into a 5, which could be a problem. We may need to go after that Doomsday Machine. The one on Essen is going to turn into a 3. The question is, can we get it there? Actually, I wonder if we set the shipyard... Now that I realize that we're going after Ada, we produced income at Ada this phase. Question is, can we get it there? Can we get the battle cruisers? So... 1, 1, 2. We can't get the battle cruisers there, but we can get the... Actually, yeah, I think we do that. I think we set the shipyard up there. Those 5 should be gone. That's the mineral income that we had from last round. So I think we set the shipyard there because it produced income. Unfortunately, I can't get the battle cruisers to Ada. But I can get our force there that flattened the... Yeah, I can't get the battle cruisers there this turn. I'm going to be 1 space short. But I'll kick that around as we get into round 11. But the thing I need to worry about in round 11 is we've got our 3rd and last Doomsday Machine coming out. So let's move into round 11. I'm changing my mind again, and I'm going to put the shipyard back on Vortigern. Ada is probably going to be a lost cause anyway, even if we get the battle cruisers and the... Even if we get the battle cruiser and the cruisers there, I don't think we're going to be able to defend Ada well enough to be able to make... I don't think we're going to get enough forces there to make defending it worthwhile. So I think we're just going to plan on defending Vortigern instead, especially with the third Doomsday Machine coming this round. So I think we're just going to build up a wall around Vortigern and see what we can do there. So with that in mind, we've got no scouts now. Miner 1's going to go grab that 5 mineral. Those can come off the board. Miner 1's going to grab that 5 mineral and start working that back toward one of our colonies. Then I'm going to start the battle cruisers moving toward the action at Vortigern. Miner 2 is going to realize that it's got nothing to do at the moment. So I think with that in mind, he's going to move down to J7 because why not? Maybe we'll build some scouts again, but I'm not betting on that. Round 2 is going to be very short as well, as the battle cruisers are going to move to K5, planning on heading to Vortigern next turn. Miner 1's going to move up to I8 with those minerals, and Miner 2 is basically going to just twiddle his thumbs, I think. Then turn 3, the battle cruisers are going to get to Vortigern, plan on joining the fun there. Then Miner 1's going to pass through the nebula to get to one of the systems there. And Miner 2 is still going to twiddle his thumbs. So we're into our economic phase. But before we get to anything with income, we've got to roll for where the last Doomsday Machine's coming out. This one is going to have a strength of 5, which means it'll be a B9, defense strength of 2, hull size 8, and 5 attacks. That thing is going to be a mother to take out. I'll turn the dice tower there. And it's spawning at 7, so it's spawning out here, which means we're probably going to need some movement tech to get there in a hurry, although it's going to go for Essen first. Actually, it's going to num a bunch of our colonies. Once we defend Vortigern, which is going to be next turn from the looks of it. Actually, it's going to be in 2 rounds. So by that time, he'll flatten Essen, and then we'll need movement tech in a hurry. So Doomsday Machine 2 is going to move here and take out Ada, which means we lose that colony, and that's a deep space chit, so that goes back into the deep space bag. Now we're into the economic phase. Hopefully losing that won't be too bad, but we have 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We still have 6 colonies there for a total of, 53. We didn't get any mineral income because we have no minerals to find right now. 54. We do have a maintenance cost of... Don't know what that was. We do have a maintenance cost of 10, though, which we'll be paying in a second. 54. 10 bringing us down to 44. Now, once more, I want, like I said, I want all the firepower I can find. Technically, Doomsday Machine 2 would have healed, but it didn't have any hits on it. We've got a shipyard down at Vortigern, so we can build something there if we want to. And let's see, we can't build any more attack, or we can't upgrade attack any further. Ship size 6 would let us build destroyers, or dreadnoughts, I should say. Which I think we'll go with because we're probably going to need some heavy firepower to take on Doomsday Machine 3. So I think we're going to start off by spending 20 to get to ship size 6. We'll do that. Once again, we can't use that this turn, but we will be able to use it next turn. So that's 20, and I have 24 left, which I can use the battleship here. Actually, do I want the battleship or do I want movement? I think a better investment is going to be in movement. Especially since I've now got Doomsday Machine 3 on the other side of the board. It's going to nom a few of my colonies, but I don't think I can stop that at any rate. So that means I'm spending on 25, move 3 I'm going to, which will now mean I can move 2 spaces on the second and third turns. So, oh, I'm one short. I just realized I can't pick up move 3 this turn. Because I don't have enough CP to do that. That will absolutely need to be at the top of my list next turn. So I think instead, in other words, we are at ship size 6 this turn. So I think for 20, I will go ahead and buy a battleship. Which will also mean I get to carry over, which will mean I'm spending 20 on technology and 20 on ships. I have 4 CP left. I'm incurring a new maintenance cost of 3. And I get to place the battleship. I have to place it at Altair, but I can get it into the chaos over at do I want to get it into the chaos at Vortigern, or do I want to start defending some of my colonies on... I don't think I need to get it on this side of the board yet. Because if I'm going to be upgrading... I'm going to be upgrading move as my top priority next round. Let's see, 1, 2, 2. I think the colony I'll be heading for is Essen. First colony I'll be heading for is Essen. But I need to sit tight here, defending move Vortigern. I may be making at least one move upgrade, and then I'm definitely going to be making at least one move upgrade in the next couple rounds. But I also get to increase colonies. Essen will turn into a 5, which is probably going to get num-nummed by Doomsday Machine 3 in 2 turns. But there's nothing I can do about that. So we'll probably plan on defending on one of our later colonies. I'm thinking it'll probably be Omicron, unless by some miracle I can upgrade move twice next round. But let's see what happens in round 12. Now we've got to start dealing with these Doomsday Machines. This is probably going to be a very uneventful round. Miner 1 is going to move up to Omicron, which will give us 5 mineral points next in the economic phase. Battleship 1 is going to move down to K6, plan on joining the party over at Vortigern, where we're going to have a ton of firepower there. I think that will do it for turn 1. Turn 2, the miners are going to move to K8. Battleship will continue moving, and Miner 2 is just still twiddling its thumbs at this point. Turn 3, Battleship 1 will get over to Vortigern, and then Miners will move toward Anion, and the other one will still twiddle his thumbs. Then into the economic phase, Doomsday Machine 2 is moving to K3. It's going to be moving toward the mess in Vortigern, which is what I want. Doomsday Machine 3 heading for I9. Likely our last turn generating income from Essen. 20. We've got 7 5-strength colonies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 55 plus. So we carried 4 over. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. 35. Actually 55. Plus 5 for minerals, leaving it a subtotal of 64, minus maintenance of 13. So 13, leaving me 51. First order of business is spending 25 to upgrade my move. So now I'm at move 3, where I couldn't get there last turn. I'm going to do that first. I could spend another 25 to go to move 4. If I think... Let's see. 1, 2... So, Essen's probably lost. It's probably going to be lost next turn. Do I set up to... Actually, could I get over to Omicron if I want to make that my next defense? 1, 2, 2. I could... Let's see, that's going to land there. That's going to land on Essen. I'm thinking I probably set up Omicron as our stand against those Doomsday Machines. So with that in mind, I could put a shipyard there. Actually, I could put both my shipyards there, my last two shipyards there, and risk... That's actually pretty tempting. And that would give me more defense around Omicron. I think I've got enough firepower around Vortigern that we can probably deal with that Doomsday Machine. There's also an argument to be made, though, for strengthening my defenses against it, because it will be hitting at a C8. I think we're going to do that. Plus Doomsday Machine 3 is going to be hitting at a B9, so I'm going to spend 30 to go to Defense 3. Actually, that's Defense 2 I'm going to. Which is probably still worth it in the grand... God bless it, I just realized I can't do that either. I can't go to Defense 2 like I wanted to, and of course... I already circled it. So do I just build more firepower, and... Question is, do I build more firepower... Or do I act on the thought I was having to move the two of the shipyards from Altair out to Omicron if I think that's going to be our next... If I think that's going to be our last stand. And I think that's the plan I'm going to go with. I'm going to spend 2 to build those shipyards out at Omicron. Which now leaves me with 37 from 51, leaves me with 14 if I want to buy some more firepower. And I think I'll grab a battle cruiser? No, I'm gonna sit on those. I'm gonna sit on those last 14 CP. I'm not incurring any maintenance costs. Carrying those over into round 13. So those 2 shipyards are going to be built at Omicron. And then we're heading into round 13 next, where we're going to have another fight over at Omicron. So I'm expecting, not Omicron, Vortigern. So this is probably going to be a very fast first 3 rounds. I think the only units that would be moving right now would be the 2 miners, but they're both going to sit tight through all 3 rounds because we're all set for our fight at Vortigern. Doomsday Machine 2 is going to move into the mess, and Doomsday Machine 3 is going to flatten Essen. So those will come off the board. Then I'm going to put a mark to indicate... I'm going to put a mark at Vortigern to indicate that's our next battle. So I'm going to get everything set up, and then we'll transition back down below for our next battle. In case you're wondering what the yellow dice are that I put here, those are reminders of the modified hit values for each of my ships. So the battleship and battle cruisers need a hit of 5 or... I'm going to do it this way. The battleship and battle cruisers need a 5 or less to hit. The cruisers need a modified 5 or less to hit, and the shipyard needs a 4 or less to hit. I'm getting those numbers from adding 3 to each attack strength on the chit, which you'll find... Come on. Which you'll find down here. That 5-2 is actually... The 2 is actually its defense strength, which I was going to use different dice for that, and I think I will. I'm going to use green dice so I can determine when the Doomsday Machine rolls its hits, what I would need to be able to hit each one. So defense is 1, plus 2 is 3, which means a C7, Actually, C8. So it would need a... So it looks like it would need a 10 to hit this. If I'm understanding this... No, that can't be right. Hold on. I want to make sure I get this straight. So... Alright, so C8, which means it's going to subtract 3 from the roll. So it would actually need a 5 or less to hit the battleships, a 6 or less to hit the cruisers, actually a 6 or less to hit almost everything else, six or less to hit those, and a straight 8 or less to hit the shipyard, because those don't have any defense to them. That's helped me remember what the modified hit rolls are. So we're going to start rolling. First we'll roll for a weakness on this battle, which doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. An 8 means it would have a large fleet bonus, but we don't have enough ships that could hit the Doomsday Machine. We only have 6, so we don't get that bonus. Anyway, the first battleship needs a 6 or less to hit the Doomsday Machine, and it's got a hull size of 7, so we need to deal 7 hits to it. That's a 6, so that'll be our first hit on Doomsday Machine 2. Battlecruiser 1 also needs a 6 or less. That's a 7, so no dice there. Battlecruiser 2 also needs a 6 or less. That's a 7, so no hit there. Battlecruiser 3 also needs a 6 or less. A 5 is another hit on the Doomsday Machine. And then because of tactics, the Doomsday Machine fires before the cruisers and the shipyard. So Doomsday Machine 2, at a strength of 3, gets 4 attacks. And as I mentioned, the green dice are what we need to roll to hit each one of them. And the way it's probably going to assign hits is it's going to assign hits to anything that hasn't attacked yet. Let's see, that's a... Wow. That was a pretty good roll for us. 5, 8, 8, 9 for 1 hit. So it's going to take out Shipyard 1. So those dice can go away. And then once I get these put back away, we'll roll for our next attacks, which this time we're on the cruiser, so it needs a 5 or less to hit the Doomsday Machine. Hopefully we can still salvage a pretty good attack round out of this. That's a 7, so nothing there. The other cruiser needs a 5 or less. That's a 6, so nothing doing there. Then we loop back and start a new round of combat with the battleship. It needs a 6 or less to hit. It would be nice if we could run through this in 4 straight. That's a 3, so we're on our way there. Battlecruiser 1 also needs a 6 or less to hit. That's a 5, so that's another hit. Battlecruiser 2. Another 5, so 1 more hit. Battlecruiser 3, if you can be the hero of the day, that would be... Oh, we need 7 hull size. So we need 2 more. We need 2 more hits. And we got 1 more. So now we need 1 more. Then over to Doomsday Machine 2, we established 4 attacks. Yikes, that's a little more problematic. So 8 isn't a hit, but the other 3 are. So it's going to flatten this cruiser and deal 1 hit to the other cruiser. That's rather unfortunate. That cruiser's gone, but sometimes that's just how it goes. So that cruiser can go away. I'll move that there. Once I get these dice put away, we need one more hit from our last cruiser to take out the... We need one more hit to take out the Doomsday Machine. Let's see if we can get it. We need a 5 or less. That's a 4, so that'll wipe out the last Doomsday Machine, which means all of our ships will heal, and Doomsday Machine 2 has been flattened. So, let's move back up to the main board and continue with the economic phase. Okay, now going into our economic phase, we've got the last Doomsday Machine to deal with. So, colony income, let's move that there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, 30 and 20 is 50. We didn't get any mineral CP, so 64 minus our total maintenance cost. And actually, this sheet's really good for that because I can also see at a glance what I have on the board. 8 and 3 is 11. So 64, 11, 53. So now I'm thinking I want as much firepower as I can find. I just heard something come to a stop. I want to see what it is. But of course I can't hear anything there. I am expecting a delivery sometime yet this morning, so just want to give you guys a heads up of what's going on there and why I'm wildly looking out the window. So I think now we're at a point where we've got Doomsday Machine 3 left. It's going to be over at Omicron next turn, and I'm thinking I want all the firepower I can find to try to end the game right here. So I think with that in mind, what's it hitting at? A B9? Yikes. Do I concern myself with trying to attack? Or do I think I'm going to need to play defense? I think, honestly, I just want as much firepower as I can find and then some. Right now we've got this whole fleet that can get over to Omicron in a hurry, plus we've got 2 shipyards there. You know, the problem is he's hitting at a B9 with 5 attacks. And he's got a hull size of 8. Which isn't great for us, but... So with that hull size in mind, with all of those stats in mind, I think I definitely want to upgrade at least my tactics. So we're going to spend 15 for tactics 2. And if we're tied, the defender fires first. So yes, as long as we're setting up for defense, we'll be defending at Omicron most likely. So now that we've got firing covered, now that we've got the defense covered, now I want all the firepower I can find. So that's 15, that'll leave me with 38. So I think, what ship size are we at? We are at 6, so we could buy a Dreadnought for 24, put it over at Omicron so we're ready for that, and I think we will do that. So 24 for a Dreadnought. 39, which means I have 14 left to buy with, which I think is going to be... So I think it's going to be a base as well. I'm setting up here to try to lower the boom on him right now. So 27 and 24 is 51. I will have just enough for that. Remaining 2, I'm incurring a lot of new maintenance, though. I did buy a Dreadnought. I'm incurring a new maintenance of... So I'm actually incurring only 3 maintenance, surprisingly. But hopefully we won't need to worry about that. As we're heading into turn 14 next, let's see what we can do with getting this game hopefully over right here. I almost forgot to place my new units, both of which are going straight to Omicron. We're probably going to have a very uneventful turn here. Turn 1, we're going to move this entire fleet over to K5. Everything else is going to sit tight. Turn 2, it's all going to move 2 spaces over toward Anion. Then turn 3, it's all moving to Omicron. And then during the economic phase, Doomsday Machine 3 is going to join it. So we've got quite a mess here, and I'm hoping this will be the last turn of the game, so let's bring the Dice Tower back in shot. Just like before, and I think we've got everything in shot here. Greens are for attack, gold is for defense. I'm going to move that down just a touch. Mostly so I can put the battle icon where I want it so I can reach and be able to slide everything. Let me move camera just a touch. Okay. So the base needs an 8 or less to hit. And actually, before we start into the battle, let me explain what we've got going on here. This is the last Doomsday Machine. We're making our stand on Omicron. If we destroy it, we win. Otherwise, we have some time to try to build up our defenses again to make probably a last stand on Altair. But we need to see what happens here. So, as far as the setup goes, the Doomsday Machine this time is firing at a B9. Because we upgraded our tactics to tactics level 2 this previous economic phase, we're actually getting our B units, which are our battle cruisers, have the same tactics level as the Doomsday Machine, but because we're defending, in case of a tie, defender fires first. So that's why we've got everything set up like that. So now that we've got the scene set there, now let's start rolling for our attacks. The base first needs once again the dice, gold as before is for attack, green is for defend. We'll roll for a weakness, but I don't think it'll matter. For giggles, a 6 means cloaking. Raiders fire at A instead of D in every round. And I have a +1 attack strength bonus in the first round. Plus, the Doomsday Machine gets a -2 on its attack strength when firing at Raiders, but not a part of this game. So, coming back to our current battle, the base needs an 8 or less to hit. That's a 9, so nothing doing there. The Dreadnought needs a 7 or less. That's a 3, so that's our first hit on the Doomsday Machine. The battleship needs a 6 or less to hit. That's a 5, so that's another hit on the Doomsday Machine. The battle cruisers are all also going to need a 6 or less. That's a 10, so nothing doing from Battle Cruiser 1. Battle Cruiser 2. Is going to, wow, most certainly deal a hit. And we need to deal, I believe we need to deal 8. Yep, we need to deal 8 to this Doomsday Machine. Battle Cruiser 3. Is not going to deal any hits, so we only get 3 in that first round. The Doomsday Machine is rolling with 5 dice. Okay, that is a mess of hits. That's 5 hits, which will probably just take everything out on that side of the board. So we'll take out the cruiser and both shipyards. And it's got 1 more hit to deal out, so we'll rule that those 3 are done, and the only one it can hit is one of the battle cruisers. So the way we'll do that is we'll roll 1 to 3 for 1, 4 to 6 for 2, 7 to 9 for 3, 10 will be a reroll. A 6, so we're going to hit battle cruiser 2. All right, now we're back to the start of a new round. Hopefully it's not going to run through everything. Base needs an 8 or less to hit. That's a 2, so it'll deal another hit to the Doomsday Machine. It would be wonderful if we could run through this right now and just get a clean sweep. Dreadnought 1, the Dreadnought needs a 7 or less. That's a 4, so it'll deal another hit. The battleship and battle cruisers all need 6 or less to hit. Those dice can come out of my way. That is a 2 for another hit. Now for our first battle cruiser. Still needs a 6 or less. That's an 8, so nothing doing there. Battle cruiser 2, the one that got damaged. Seven is nothing doing there, and battle cruiser 3. Also doesn't get a hit. Now it's the Doomsday Machine's turn. 5 dice. And this is where our green dice are going to hopefully help us keep these hits straight. Alright, so we've got a 10 and a 9, which don't do anything for us. As for the 7, the 4, and the 5, it probably just wipes out the strongest unit it can reach. So we're going to have it take out the base and deal a hit to the Dreadnought. That's how we'll do that. Then we'll loop it back through for round 3. We just need 2 more hits without it running through the rest of our units. So let's see what our Dreadnought can do first. It needs a 7 or less to hit. There's a 7, so that's our 7th hit on the Doomsday Machine. And now one of these units should be able to get a 6 or less in 4 rolls. Like that too. And that 8 damage will wipe out the last Doomsday Machine, and we will win the game. So let's move back up top to wrap this video up. We had to sacrifice a couple of colonies to make that work in the end, but we were ultimately able to pull it off. So that will do it for this playthrough of Space Empires 4X by GMT Games. Later this afternoon, I'm planning on playing Warfighter in the World War II Europe setting from Danverson Games. Tomorrow we're probably going to have an APA day on the channel as we get back into the sports simulations. This time we're playing APA Hockey. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.